Hi, it's me, Creative Katie Karen Burchill. Welcome to my channel, Mixed Media Creations. Follow me on all my social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, WordPress, and Pinterest. Just search for Creative Katie and you're sure to find me. If you wish to support my channel, you can shop through my Amazon influencer links or make a direct donation through my PayPal link. Both can be found in the description box below. Thank you so much. Hit the subscribe button, click on the bell, and select the option to be notified as soon as I upload a new video. You won't miss any that way. Today we have a quote journal tutorial. So you're looking at my quick fire quote journal, and this is reclaimed from an old mini happy planner, and you can look at the videos where I show how I got color on here very quickly, or gesso. There's two different videos, and what I'm doing is for about 3-4 weeks I'm picking a theme. The first time I'm just doing on change, so I went and I got a bunch of quotes, typed them up, have them at the ready, and I've made several pages that you can see the tutorials for. What I've also done as I've been creating, I've also been adding, color and pattern and design. I put on some modeling paste that I had left over. I put on book music paper. Done some stenciling. Here I've done an entire background when I created this one. I had paints left over, so I just put it on a blank sheet, and now it's pretty much ready. The background's there for some other month, some other theme as we go. I've also picked out pictures that I have in my stash that I think go on backgrounds, and I've just put a little painter's tape on there and just put that on there. Sometime I'm going to come up with a quote that's going to go with that, and it's going to be great. So today we're doing another one with change, and I found the quote, "If you don't like where you are, move. You are not a tree." And I giggled at this because this is what, when I taught children, I'm a retired teacher, this is what I would tell them when they were finding themselves in an unpleasant situation on the playground. I said, "Are you a tree?" And they would laugh and giggle. And I said, "Well, then you can move. Go somewhere where you can have fun and enjoy your time outside. You are not a tree." So I want to do that. So I have, of course, in my stash, one of the brand new Crafters Workshop stencils, new for 2019, winter of 2019. This is TCW 831, and there's an S. That's for the 6x6 size. They also come in a large 12x12 size. But I'm really loving the small ones for my quick fire journal. This is measuring 5x7, and I'm using it a lot. They're easy to handle. They work well with the time frame that I want to do a quick fire. I don't want to pull out some bigger things, so that's working. So I've flipped through here, and I don't really have a background in here that I'm liking, and since I have a little bit more time, I grabbed one of my gesso sheets. Now you can see here, this has a lot of writing that is showing through to the gesso. So now I could add more layers of gesso, but I think I'm just going to put some of my designer tissue paper, and this happened to have been tissue paper that I was grabbing and grabbing tissue paper for a different project, and this fell on the floor. So it's been sitting on the floor, and I'm thinking, okay, you know what? I'm just going to use it. So I figure if I put the tissue paper on there, or if I did some stamping in the background, that would mask the printing that's there. So that is what I'm going to do to start. I'm just going to use some of the Crafters Workshop matte gel medium. Someone in one of my groups was asking about, you know, gel medium and what's the difference between matte medium and gel medium. Well, gel is this consistency. It is fluffier, whereas the regular matte medium is just liquid. I prefer this. I think when you're using for decoupage or doing a lot of tissue paper and that kind of thing, the liquid is better. I've tried both. This is what I prefer. I can thin this down. Now I'm just going to go as close as I can to my little cutouts, my holes for my happy planner there. And I'm just going to put a coat of this. Now, if this is too harsh, you can rip your tissue paper, which isn't the end of the world. Just adds a little more texture, and that's what I'm getting here. I'm getting some pattern and I'm getting some texture. You can thin this down. That's what I was saying. You can take this and thin it down and turn it more into like liquid one. But then I have the gel, which I like and has other uses. So as much as possible, I don't need to duplicate. I don't need to have both. So, and the matte finish means it's not going to shine. And I prefer that. I like gloss as a final finish, and I often varnish if I'm taking it to that extent. More canvases. I don't really often varnish my art journal pages. Okay, so I'm just going to dry this and we'll be back for the next step. Okay, so this is dry, and I dry on both sides. You can see, hopefully you can see the texture that's there. Now you can, just as an idea, part of the quick fire is to kind of pre-do some of the stuff. If you have several white sheets and you want to put tissue paper on it, you can just have a gluing down session and glue down on 5 different backgrounds, various tissue papers or napkins, and that can be just added to your quick fire stash. One step that you don't have to do when you have time to sit down and create. So as you can see, I'm just turning this upside down and just cutting off the excess in there. So now, one thing that you need to do is just check. Now you can see, inevitably, no matter how great a job I think I'm doing, that happens. So before you put your brush in the water, like I did, you should cut it and check to see that. But instead of getting the brush out of the water, I'm just going to use my fingers here and get that done. Okay, so that has. Now I'll put a link to the video where I talk about making your own designer tissue paper. So I have decided that I want to kind of do a sunset glow. And you know, I can grab these paints, this yellow, orange, and red, and do the sunset with the paints. They're handy here because I was just doing a background, but I'm going to use my Inktense blocks, and these ones as well work really well with a quick fire because they're easy peasy to clean up. You don't end up with excess. And the Inktense blocks, if you're not familiar with them, I'll put a link. I have a whole series, 7 videos, where I talk about all the ways that you can use this tool, this color medium, in mixed media and art journaling. And it's very, very versatile, and it's well worth a look, especially if you have these and you're not using them, or you're interested in getting them. These are highly portable, so even if you are flying, like, they're dry, there's no liquid to taking them. And you have all the colors that you get. Now the Inktense blocks are not watercolor, although they are water soluble, they are ink. And when they are dried, when they're fully activated and dried, they are permanent. And you know how much I love that. So I had swatched out, so I am going to pick, I want a yellow, so this one, 230, that's that one. I think that's about right. And I think I'm going to go 260 to the burnt orange and chili red, the 500. It's well worth your time to swatch out the colors. You'll find some colors, they look different when you are using them. When you actually use them. So what I'm going to do is just use the side of these and put them right on here. And I'm going right to the edge because I want color there, even though I wasn't able to put tissue paper there because I didn't want to block, I didn't want to have to cut around it again. And we're going to and as you can see, I'm not fussing with this at all. Talk about quick fire, right? So I have that, and I have my little spritz bottle, and that is all it takes to activate these. And you can see how very, very, very vibrant these colors are. I'm just going to use a baby wipe to, and I just want some blending to happen in there. Sunset Glow. So I'm going to dry this, but if I want more color, I can just come in even when it's wet and build up the color to get the depth that I want to get. Okay, I'm just going to dry this. Now these do dry very, very matte and very chalky almost. I'm going to zoom in. You can see the texture from the wrinkled tissue paper. That's just another layer that we've added very quickly and very easily without a lot of fuss and muss. Some people had commented on one of my other quick fires that they're overthinking their page. You know, and sometimes I think we think that because we watch it in videos, and I'm guilty of making those videos, they're very involved, you know. Not every page has to be that involved. Some of it can be very simple and yet very, very beautiful. You know, pick 3 colors, pick 1 or 2 techniques, 1 stencil. And especially if you're a beginner, get that going for you before you start adding complexity in. So now I'm going to figure out the composition of my page. So if I want this here, now I can cut this up however I want it, but if I move that more that way, That's going to cover up the yellow. But if I turn it, because I can do that because of the way the pages are, this can become the other side. If I put that there, that will be on the red. And I kind of am liking not having as much of that as possible. But this kind of hides the holes. You know what? I don't think it really matters so much. I'm really overthinking it. So I'm just going to use some black acrylic paint. We're going to go silhouette. And silhouette is a technique that is so very easy to use and so very effective. When in doubt, silhouette. Okay, so just getting some on the sponge. So you can do any colors, any kind of stencil, and basically get the same effect. Okay, there we go. Moved a little bit, so I'm going to lift it up, and I'm just going to extend it just by doing that. So it kind of goes all the way down, even though it really didn't. And I'm just going to paint ever so gently here. More because I'm just kind of, you know, you can't let go of it. So there, beautiful silhouette. I love how the music notes in the background are coming through. Alternatively, if you don't have it on tissue paper, you could just stamp with the music stamp if you have that. The advantage of this is you don't need to pull out all those stamps, and if you only have a few minutes, everything you pull out you have to put back, so you've extended your creative time. So since I have the makeup sponge and I've got the black paint here, I'm just going to edge it this way, because instead of using a Stabilo all pencil, again, minimize the amount of products that you're pulling out. Maximize all the stuff in your stash that you can use. So there we have that. And I don't dislike the white, but I'm thinking I can do better. So what I'm going to do here is basically colorize this with the Inktense blocks in the same way I colorize the background, so that it is going to basically match. They now have the Inktense blocks in pans, so kind of like a watercolor, which is great. I think if they had had that when I bought these, I may have just gone with that. I got to be careful. This is just copy paper underneath here, so it isn't going to, it's going to pill very quickly and easily if I get too difficult with it. But the Inktense are really great for colorizing your sentiments. So I am going to just dry this. And this is curling because I didn't put this on expensive paper. But look at how nice that looks on there. Now I still have my makeup sponge. Although the paint has dried. So I'm just going to edge this, and it's going to help it stand out, and because there's the black in it. Okay, so I'm going to get my gel medium out again and give that a dry. Now, instead of putting this in the water, what you can do is just have a piece of saran wrap available and wrap it in saran wrap and then wash it at the very end. And that way you're not wasting any and it doesn't dry. Because if I just left it here, it would dry by the time I got done, even with the quick fire being so quick. So we're just going to put this on. Get that. So I'm really loving how it is, but I'm thinking, you know what, there's no shimmer, so I'm going to splatter with my gold. What you could also do is if you want to splatter on a gold, you can make a mental note of it, and then if you have the gold out for another project, you can then splatter onto it. But I'm just going to add a little bit to the craft mat here, add a little water. I prefer using my fan brush for splattering. It gives me the look I want. I always test it out on the side here. I always kind of see how it's going to go. And we're good with that. Now, having said that, if I have more gold paint here, I can just grab out a sheet and say, okay, you know what? I'm just going to add some splatter onto some of these sheets. So again, I've just added one more layer to this. So by the time I get to this page, it's going to be very simple process. So set that to dry. So there we have a finished page. I don't even know how long this has taken. Not very long at all. I'm just going to add this to my quick fire journal. So I just finished this one, and you know, I have a little bit more time in here, and I grabbed my change quotes, and I only have, I think, 2 other quotes here, And so I just decided, you know, I'm going to flip and see. These are quite long quotes, so there won't be much. They themselves are going to end up being the focal point. So I'm thinking, really doesn't go with a teacup. Maybe a page that has a lot going on could simply be enough. Oh, I kind of like that one. Let's pull this out as a possibility. Well, we have this one. Nope, that. We'll put that. Some of these have more stamping. Some are just gel printed and some have stamping on top of them. We could do that. I don't mind that. Okay, we'll pull that one as a possibility as well. Some quotes are simply going to be fairly big, and you're not going to do an elaborate anything with those. I have a feeling when I do the theme Perseverance, my little turtle here will come into play. Well, that one's not too bad. That one might work for this. And then I have these that I put modeling paste on. Nope. Oh, you know what? I think we have a winner. I think this one. This is chicken wire reverse, and I put some modeling paste on. I was doing this on a canvas, and we have the gel print, and it was all kind of a cleanup print, and you got that lovely, lovely, lovely grunge look. So I think this is going to be a winner. And you know, I'm not going to end up doing a whole lot to this, which is perfectly fine. We've got the white, the black, the red, 3 colors. So this one, really, all I'm going to end up doing is a makeup sponge, and I clean these. I spray them with my Murphy's oil soap and I clean them. As soon as I'm done using them, I try to spray them with the Murphy's oil soap, then they sit there till I clean up, which doesn't always happen right away. I'm gonna not tell a lie. So this is going to be a very quick page, but that's the benefit. Some pages are going to be a little bit more, some are going to be a little bit less, but you can get in here and create. So I will put a link. I think this one is in Amazon. Some of the newer stencils are not in Amazon just yet. And if they are, I've noticed the pricing is just ridiculous. So I refuse to link to such vendors. But they are available in stores. So there we have that. And it got a little grunge, and I'm okay with that. And now I'm just going to do the sides. So this one, again, is going to be so quick and easy. Now, if you really like this composition, and you think, oh, you know, I would like to do that. Now that you have this idea and it's in your quote journal, you can take this idea and say, you know, I really liked how the composition of that worked, and do this on purpose. This was very, I grabbed the page, I put this modeling paste on through this, what was left through the stencil, instead of just cleaning it up and throwing it in the garbage, right? So, but now I totally love it. So I will use red, black, and white, or pink, black, and white, or something, and that stencil deliberately, maybe on a canvas, maybe on a full-on art journal page that has, you know, a little bit more to it. Not every page needs to go to the nth degree. Do you have to edge? No, but I find that that finishes it off. Again, if you typically edge in black, like I do, 99% of the time I think it's black, or if it's more blue tones, I might pick a dark blue. But if I don't have time to do it, or I don't want to get it out, I could get out the makeup sponge and the black paint and do 5 pages and just edge. So you're kind of doing an assembly line, if that makes sense. So yeah, I totally like that. A little bit in that corner, a little bit here. I'm pondering cutting that and putting the secret to change up there. But you know what? I'm going to keep this down here. Keep it super simple. Do not overthink. And because I know this is all acrylic paint and it's permanent, I don't have to worry about the colors getting all reactivated when I put the glue on. It's bringing me a lot of joy to just flip through my quote journal and see the finished pages that have evolved. Okay. The secret of change is to focus all your energy not on fighting the old, but on building the new. Yeah, we focus on what we have to give up instead of what we're getting. So I'm going to dry that, and you know what? This is going to be this is one of my homemade stamps. Now if I can get it, there we go, that I have, and I absolutely love it. I love it on my canvases. I love it. It just adds such an interesting detail onto here. And you know, I am actually, these just inadvertently just seem to have framed this quote. So this one I'm just leaving block, and there's white in the background, so leaving it white, but you can colorize it. So this one we're doing 3 pages. But that's only possible because, I mean, 2 of these are really, really simple. Basically, the whole background was done. All I'm doing is gluing on the quote, which again is cut out. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do this. Now, if I decided that I wanted to add some more of these, I could at this time. But, you know, I love how they are. They just seem to quote. And that's why, you know, you sit there and you throw these on here and you kind of audition the different ones at different times. And that's why in your art journal, some, you know, some of these pages are just gesso. Some have just color. Some have, they're gel printed, so there's multiple colors. Some have some stamping on them. And if you have varieties of them and you're adding to it as you do other creations or other sessions, you can do a whole session and say, okay, I've got all the gel printing ones. Now I'm just gonna add some stamping to a few of them. Now I'm going to do this. And before you know it, the page is pretty much done. I think we're going this way. That was what I decided. And since I have my gel medium out and my black paint out, this is like a no-brainer to do this right now because everything's here. Okay. So this was a very quick, easy page, but you know, I'm thinking I'm going to grab my fine line bottle. These I love. I have 3 sets of them now. I've got black, white, gold, Prussian blue because, well, that's my favorite. And I put the black acrylic paint in there and I add water till I get it to this consistency. And it's just kind of trial and error just till I get. You do not have to put a whole lot of pressure on this at all. I much prefer this to using the fine line pen, you know, the micron pens. I always tend to, they dry out faster than I use them, so. Okay. And you know what, I'm going to go around the edges as well because I've got it out. And I tend to go a little sketchy. I don't try to make it a straight line because you're not going to make it straight, right? There we go. So that just kind of finished that one off. A little bit, set that to dry. You know, I'm going to do the same thing here. They're not going to be next to each other in my quickfire journal, so I don't have to worry about it being too matchy-matchy. And there you have it. 3 quick fire quote journal pages done in well under an hour. Lovely additions to your quote journal, and you had some lovely time creating. Made possible because most of the backgrounds were, these two were pretty much done because you've done it over time. Start thinking about art journaling in a different way and don't overthink about it. Sometimes this I absolutely love. I will totally use this again. Same thing with this blue and pink. I'm loving this color combo, but can't say I've really ever used that on a canvas, on some other piece of art. So have fun with it, and then maybe it'll be a jumping stone to another art journal page where instead of starting from scratch, you have an idea. So this art journal is also a inspiration journal in inspiring new pages. Bye for now.